So one of the initiation processes for getting into that club is burning a £50 note.
Nathaniel Rothschild.
Mr. Rothschild.
Younger, yes, not only are they encouraged, one of the guys told me that they kind of made a fetish out of doing as much damage as possible. Getting into the club is almost entirely dependent on wealth.
They don't know when to stop.
And its former members include the men today running London, the country and the economy.
I am sick to death of poor people!
A lot of what happens with the Bullingdon Club isn't just sort of useful indiscretions. These people go on to maintain the connections they made in the Bullingdon Club 20, 30 years later, when they're in high positions in journalism, politics.
The World War was close to King George VI as the Lord Steward of the royal household, but he accompanied Lord Brocket to celebrate Hitler's 50th birthday. It was a matter of personal delight to Hitler that the Duke, in order to have dirt on each other so that then they can possibly be blackmailed in the future, or they'll keep quiet, as we were hearing the Mafia Omerta sign. But what when these people are let leash on a country, on an economy?
Interested in it. By the time I was 15, I had begun the conversion experience that I then went through for the next 5 years to Catholicism, which culminated in me converting when I was at Oxford.
George Farmer, Candace Owens' handler, or actually partner. This article by Tim DeRozan pretty much summarizes a lot of this. George Farmer in the Bullingdon Club. The Bullingdon Club's notoriety stems not merely from its decadence, but from the complete absence of consequences its members have historically faced. Restaurants trashed, college rooms destroyed, dress codes enforced by initiation rituals bordering on humiliation. All of it hidden behind wealth, connections, and the complicity of institutions unwilling to confront their golden boys. This is not simply about youthful excesses. It's about what destructive privilege looks like in practice. The belief that rules are for others, that money can mop up any mess. Their reputational laundering will come courtesy of future peerage of PR firms. George Farmer inherited this playbook, and he now applies it in a political arena with disturbing effectiveness. Now, Farmer's tenure as chairperson of Turning Point UK marked the arrival of American-style grievance politics on British soil. What began as a youthful, focused conservative group rapidly degenerated into a platform for online trolling, misinformation, and performative outrage, often targeting minorities, academics, and journalists. Are you getting it? Okay, let's go. Let's cook. Rather than debate ideas, the strategy was to delegitimize institutions. You hear it? Mainstream ideas, mainstream media, universities, public broadcasters, even science itself.
Smart people don't need data. We've just been around.
I just know things because I've been around. Science, what it is actually, is a pagan faith.
Oh, this is a British person writing. You see where George is coming from and why Candace is the way Candace is? I think you can see it from here, okay? You can see it clearly now. What the Bullingdon Club practice in marble dining halls, tearing down and laughing at the rubble, Turning Point sought to replicate in public square. Critics who once condemned elite impunity were now cast as cultural Marxists or woke ideologies. It's a bait-and-switch tactic. Wrap all privilege in new populism, then claim to be the victim. Ooh, this is good. This is good. Farmer's political and media persona is a curious hybrid. On one hand, he presents as the Cambridge analytical class schemer, polished, connected, data literate. On the other, he trades in low-rent anti-intellectualism, surrounding himself with media figures who shout first and then fact-checked never. Ooh, boy. Ooh, boy. Isn't that his wife we are describing here exactly? Is there someone else we should describe with this? His marriage to Candace Owens has furthered his trajectory. Together, they represent a transatlantic pipeline of performative conservatism, wealth masquerading as victimhood, ignorance framed as authenticity. Right? George Farmer has been doing this in the UK. This is someone from the UK writing about George Farmer's activities in the UK. And then when he married Candace Owens, imagine the two of them times two. Imagine that kind of chaos. Imagine the chaos. America is going through a lot. I'm feeling bad for you guys. I'm so sorry, guys. But while Owens caught controversy through verbal, prytanics, Farmer's role is more insidious. He is the architect, not the arsonist, the one who finances the platform, signs the checks, drafts the legal shields. A reminder, behind every demagogue, there is usually a financier with plausible deniability. Ooh, George, you're so good at this. He has mastered this, okay? He knows how to work on this. The story of George Farmer is not just about one man. It is about the persistence of destructive privilege in post-Brexit Britain. It is about how elite impunity has moved from champagne-drenched vandalism into algorithmic disinformation, how political influence has shifted from backroom deals to Telegram groups and YouTube brands, how the old ruling class has learned to wear populist masks while protecting its own power. Farmer did not invent this model. He just embodies its evolution. The posh reactionary who despises elites, the heir to wealth who rails against entitlement, the vandal who now breaks systems instead of wine glasses. Isn't that the exact system Candace and her husband real and breed? They live and breed that exact system, and they are not backing down from it. In the end, George Farmer may be remembered not for what he built, but for what he helped erode. Fact-based debate, institutional credibility, and the idea that public service demands humility, not hereditary swagger. The Bullingdon Club may no longer meet in Oxford's finest dining rooms, but its legacy lives on in the smirking defiance of men like Farmer and in the wreckage they leave behind, and wreckage in the United States they have been leaving behind. Look at this picture perfectly well. That is George Farmer, who is number 8. Him and his buddies were in Africa, as they said, South Africa, having a time of their life. After shooting a shooting party, they have the goose they caught in front of them to have the little party they always like having. So Candace Owens can go ahead and preach to us about how the elite, the blah, 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 the Rothschilds and all that drama. Meanwhile, her husband is a system, not only a system, a product of that system. And she is not only a product of her husband, but she is having a handler. She admitted that very well. And I go as far as say, allegedly, he is a handler. He has practiced chaos. He has practiced it in the Bullingdon Club. And he just brought it to America, redefined it. And now his wife is in America sowing chaos across the Atlantic. And whenever she's caught in a lie, she now claims to be victim. Guys, this is not something that was started now. When I created what was Candace Owens' playbook, which I have the video, I will link it below, I told you all, Candace Owens has media outrage mastered. At that point, I was still looking at her husband, wondering if that is where she's got that thing from. And now that I have looked at it, all the investigation I've carried out, I can tell you that Candace Owens is allegedly her husband's product, and she is no other than another product of his, because probably Andrew Tate was another one as well, and she is another one. I wonder who will be George Farmer's next product, because he has mastered the art of chaos and he's going to cause chaos no matter what. He is going to drive Candace Owens, drive that truck till it crashes, then he starts another product, because what George Farmer is a factory manufacturing chaos in a system that doesn't know that it is about to be hit by the worst of the product it has been protecting in the name of elite of the Bullingdon Club. And when this thing hits them, they are about to find out in the worst possible way what happens when you protect this spoiled brats from childhood. They grow up with entitlement. They grow up knowing that you can throw money at anything, and they also grow up knowing that any mess they can make, they can get scot-free with. That is why he's sitting behind the camera. He is not in front. He is sitting behind the scenes, being the puppet master. Meanwhile, he has his puppet in front, being the chaotic one. And at the end of the day, she is the one who is sued, right? She is the one who is going to face all the consequences of terrible behavior. He is behind the scenes, and everyone is saying, "Oh, poor thing, poor George. He's so calm and quiet. Oh, poor George. Oh, George, so poor thing." Meanwhile, he is the master architect of this chaos you are all enjoying in America. Well done, America. You created monsters of your own. At least you can concentrate internally to solve the problems you have rather than looking outwards. Because from what we can tell from out here, you guys have a lot you're going through. And a lot is going through you guys, including the products of George Farmer. George Farmer is not this Christian boy who just went to Catholic school to study theology. Why was a boy studying theology also involved in the Bullingdon Club? So George Farmer went to school. He did not only love Christian life, he did not only enjoy being a Christian boy, he went to school and studied theology. And while he was studying theology, he told himself, why not I just get into the most secretive kind of skull and bones kind of club I can get into rather than just studying the theology? Why don't I just get in there, cause a wrecking ball around UK? Why don't I do that? And after he has left, he has not stopped causing that same chaos. Okay, George Farmer is a master architect, and Candace Owens, that 18 days engagement was the 18 days it took them for them to draw up the plan of their marriage, the contract, and draft it for each other to accept and agree on the terms and conditions of that contract. And by the 18th day, it was ready. That's why he did not have a problem sitting on a plane and calling her on FaceTime and say, "Hey, will you marry me now?" Because that was a goddamn contract. It had nothing to do with love relationship. He himself said it. Nothing romantic was said. It's not my mouth. He said nothing romantic was said. She said nothing romantic was said. He didn't even take her out to dinner. Okay, he didn't buy her a flower. Didn't say I like you, love you. Didn't say anything. Didn't say I really find you attractive. Didn't say you really look beautiful to me. No. He met her. He was the perfect new product, and he went for it. So please, that is my thoughts. Guys, after all of this, let me know in the comment section. Share this video. I would like Candace Owens to come and explain to us how her husband was in the chaotic Bullingdon Club while being in Catholic school studying theology. And she's here preaching about God and claiming that she is this godly woman. She and her husband are this godly couple. But her husband is one of the biggest. You can see their main aim is to discredit everything from the media to the government. I'm not saying that these people are people that don't tell lies. They do tell lies, but we have seen evidently that Candace Owens tells lies as well. She tells you a lie, the next second she is back to another horse. She's riding it into the sunset, and she doesn't give a care because she has been programmed to be a mouthpiece for chaos. Nothing else matters. As long as there's chaos, Candace Owens will be riding, and George Farmer will be in the background catching and laughing all the way into the Bullingdon Club echo book. Now, until next time, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. In the next video, we're going to look into other allegations that have come up on George Farmer. Allegations that he might not be playing in the team Candace Owens was hoping he plays in. And we have seen a couple of individuals come online to say a few things, but I think I want to dig deep to be sure what is going on here. What is going on here? I just find it suspicious. I'm being Candace Owens right now. I find it suspicious. Yeah, that somebody will come online, will not look for another man in the world to accuse of being the one who is loving on, who was doing things like that. It is your husband they decided to pick. Suspicious. Okay? Nothing is adding up and we have to find out. Until next time. Bye.
Raised Anglican. So you're at Oxford, you're studying theology. What moved you as an evangelical to the Catholic faith, which I imagine you were raised with a different understanding, a different perspective? Evangelicals do tend to hold a lot of, I would say, strong feelings against the Catholic faith, both here and abroad.
The whore of Babylon. No, that is, it's, some evangelicals would say that, but yes, of course. I mean, I was brought up in a home where I think it was viewed with suspicion at best. Although, you know, to give my parents credit where it was due, they had always basically said that it was the personal relationship with Jesus which mattered more than anything else. And so, you know, my dad has frequent examples of Catholics he had spoken to who he definitely knew had personal relationships with Jesus. But generally speaking, the Catholic Church was perceived of as nominal, like nominalism, where people just went, they didn't really understand where they went. And filled with superstition was the two phrases that kind of stuck out.
Henry VIII may have had something to do with that.
Well, for the corruption of the Catholic Church in England was started with him for sure. But the persecution, actually, really, I should say. But basically, you know, smells and bells was a phrase that frequently stuck around in my head from when I was growing up, because that was how the Catholic Church was perceived. But for me, in part, there was kind of a numbers component to it, and this is just something which I think is how my brain works, but I didn't really understand how we could be saying that before 1517, we just had this big kind of black hole of Christianity from the time of the apostles until Luther crops up. And so for me, that was like, okay, well, what's going on? Like, there must be some living faith in this 1500-year window, even if you want to call it like a 1200-year, 1300-year window, because for the first 200 years, you have the kind of apostolic age. So, you know, what's going on in that period? And for me, that was like well, we're not just going to write off this entire period of history. And I do like to challenge ideas and concepts and just figure out what's going on. And for me, I was like, okay, well, you've got doctors of the church, you've got some of the greatest minds ever, like Thomas Aquinas, ever in human history, who occupy this period, as well as countless popes whose writings have been imbibed and kind of consumed by Western civilization since. So what's happening with these guys? Like, are they Christians? Are they not Christians? And so that was really kind of where it began for me. That was the early church, the first 700 years.